Hello, hello, happy Friday. Welcome to our Friday Witchy Hangout. We do this most Fridays. Sorry that I was gone last week. I completely spaced. We went to Mammoth Cave with family. Mammoth Cave is like a national park in America. It's this like huge cave system. I'm pretty sure it's the largest cave system in the world. And it was crazy. We did I walked I think 8 miles underground, but I forgot that I had this Friday live stream when I said, oh yeah, those dates work for me. And usually I'm much better about that, but I just had to throw something together kind of last minute, and maybe I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it, but that's where I was. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't here, but I really needed that little piece of getaway. And I feel much calmer and much more peaceful and much more settled in myself. And I hope that you guys feel that way too. And if you don't, I hope that you have a chance to just kind of let everything settle and recharge your batteries sometime soon. Sometimes you don't even realize when you just kind of need something like that. So anyways, it was really fun. And today we are back with a very fun, very juicy reading on what do they want to say to you. So these always get kind of interesting, possibly triggering. Keep in mind, what somebody has to say or wants to say to you, that's from their perspective. Maybe, the way that they're viewing something, it's not the way that you view it. And just keep that in mind with these whenever we tap into somebody else's energy and their worldview and their perspective and all that kind of stuff. So let us throw up for some reason, I've just noticed me saying the phrase throw up. let us throw up. Why do we say that? I don't know. The cards here, the selections, we do have an anchor card, and I'll show you that. The anchor card is not a selection, of course, but this is the common energy, the base energy that's going into all of the cards, and we have the self. So maybe this is a person who's wanting to express themselves, or they're wanting to talk about yourself. Just kind of keep that in mind, get a good look at anything that's, standing out to you with the imagery, and that might pop into your mind at a certain point during the reading, and it might say something to you specifically. So just kind of keep that in mind there. So that's the anchor card, and then we will throw up. I don't know why that's sticking out to me. The actual choices here. So we've got the anchor card up there at the top, but these ones at the bottom here, there are actual choices. And so we've got pile number 1, which is the tier, pile number 2, which is the box, and pile number 3, which is the empty room. So I'll throw that on up there. I'm joking. And if you haven't already chosen your pile, now is a good time to do that. Even if you have, now is a good time to just connect with yourself, allow that energy to settle. If this is the only time that we're kind of able to do that during the day, and just spend some quiet time with yourself, connecting to the universe, that kind of deeper part of you that's always there and always observing in silence. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, reconnect to the world, be drawn into whatever pile or multiple piles you feel drawn into. Maybe this is somebody who has a lot to say, or maybe you're asking about more than one person. Or there could be a combination of piles, and just as usual, take what is resonating for you. So I'll leave that up there for another couple minutes. Renata says hi from Brazil. Hello, hello. What did you see down there? Mole people, perhaps? No, but I did make that joke once because they were like, you don't want any small children to fall in this hole. And I was like, the real issue is if a small child crawled out of that hole. And they were like, you believe in the mole people. And I was like, I don't. I was just trying to make a clever joke. I didn't know about the mole people until recently. Oh, okay. Regurgitate just doesn't quite fit. Oh, nice. Nice. Sarah spent a weekend in ceremony where there was a lot of that going on. Nice. All right. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's see what it is they have to say. We're going to start with pile number 1, the tier. Okay, I just heard top tier. Like this is tier, like, the tear kind of coming out of your eyes, but I just heard top tier, like kind of like top drawer. I feel like this person feels like you are top drawer energy, like I just heard, I'm sorry I didn't see it before. I was masking. So I feel like, yeah, this person was really masking like their emotions like for you before. They feel like they were kind of coming off very cold. This is an interesting blend because like if you look at this top portion here, actually it just looked like that eye was like stuffed in there and like bulging out for just a second, but it's a weird combination of energies because it does look like metal. I'm just going to scoot this a little bit closer to me. Yeah, it looks like metal, that hard coldness of metal, but then also the tear. So it's like this emotional energy, but also the air energy and like a coldness energy. And like they're both like kind of right there. And I feel like this person, maybe they're blended in a way. And I feel like this person didn't express their emotions and instead they led with like the head over the heart or something here like that. But this person thinks very highly of you. And I think that they're noticing, I think for most of you, this is you, something that you've gone through that has really been a storm. I just heard fiasco. It's really been a fiasco. They know that you've been through something. Now, if it's not you, there's also a possibility here where this person, every once in a while you hear, like a news story or something. It really just kind of grips you. It's this like harrowing story of, this person got lost in a cave for days or something. And they, they were just in there. I don't know. And something is like maybe really gripped this person, but it's maybe given them a new like insight on life. It feels like it's deepened this person or it's accessed their emotions in some way. For a lot of you, I actually think it's you. And I feel like it is noticing your perseverance. And for some of you, it might be like kind of a little bit messed up in your mind because it could be that this person was putting you through certain paces, maybe because they were trying to control the situation. They certainly were trying to control their emotions. Yeah, I just heard they were trying to control their emotions through trying to control you and like your actions. And I don't think that you took very kindly to that. It put you through like tests, like trials and tests, not tests that you had to pass, but it was just really testing. It was really trying like on your energy, just really grated upon you. And I think maybe this person was in a way trying to make you cry or trying to make you emotional. And in a weird way, it was them off-gassing their own emotions, like pushing their emotions into you. And then you would kind of, cry or express their emotions. But they were the one that kind of felt out of control in their emotions, but they were cold and they would only give you like, I feel like you were asking of something from this person, and I think it was emotional or it was like for them to express their emotions, but they would just be kind of like cold to you or very like logical. And they are recognizing that now that was inappropriate. And I think this is somebody you've kind of walled off from in some way to whatever degree you can, like whatever shape or form. Because again, I'm seeing this eye, this like bulging eye, just it feels like stuffed through whatever this hole is, And so it's like they're really trying to see into your life. And it could have been after some type of explosion. Like maybe you did kind of explode on this person. There was just this sudden eruption of just like, no, I just heard hard to hear. And then my ears, I felt like a high pitched kind of noise. It was something here was like hard to hear. And this person really kind of took it to heart, but they also understand that they were in the wrong. And I just heard, more importantly, understand that you were right. So I think you could have told this person something. It even could have been directional because I'm hearing like, I should have taken a right turn when I took a left turn. And, that may even correspond to the spiritual path. This person could be having some level of, I don't know if spiritual awakening is the right, or just like spiritual revelation, some kind of spiritual realization, because, they've got the right-hander path, which is like the yogic path, the eightfold path, that kind of slow, transformation over time, which is like what's recommended. You kind of prepare, yourself and your body and your life to go through those things. But then there's the left-hander path. And this is like the Agoris, and they say on the left-hander path, you either end up like enlightened or crazy or dead or like it can be like really extreme, And I think this person, I'm hearing like out of pocket, and I'm also hearing a left-hand turn. There's maybe some type of money that was spent here, and it was spent like on a bad decision. I'm really getting that some of you tried to like steer this person in the right direction is what I'm getting. And it may have cost this person like money in the long run, or something felt like easy, or it felt like fast and loose. I just heard casino. So this person could be like a gambler or something, but yeah, they're saying most importantly, you were right. And I think there's some kind of way that you dealt with something, because you and this person could have actually gone through something very similar. You could have been in the exact same boat. Like the two of you were in a very similar situation, or like the exact same situation. You guys were like in the trenches together. You were in that foxhole together, whatever it was, which can actually like when you go through those extreme trying times with somebody, it can create this like very fierce bond. And I think some of you have had to realize that that bond was intense, and it might have even been a trauma bond. Like you were experiencing maybe some type of trauma or some type of pressure. Maybe that's confirmation. That's Soul, my little boy cat. So that's like kind of sun energy. Oh, illumination. Something here has been like illuminated, that you dealt with it the right way, and this person kind of dealt with it the wrong way. I just heard suppression. This is also a person, I think they might want to say that, okay, they thought that like they didn't want people to have a say in their life. They kind of were like, no, it's like my way or something, like it's going to be my way. And I don't want you, like, who are you to have a say in my life? But I think that whatever you were saying was coming from a good place. Like you saw a way through, like you knew what you knew. And sometimes when we know things from a place of wisdom, where it's like very holistically rounded, it can be really difficult to get through, especially if somebody is really like logically minded. And sometimes for some of us, I don't know who this could be, Jessica, whenever I go through something that's really scary, and I'm like, I feel like myself like right on the edge of something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to make a mistake. Like this could go so horribly wrong. I know it's like a coping mechanism for me to get really left-brained, where I try to see everything just like exactly as it is. And in a way, like kind of sterilizes it. And so it could be that this person's like that in general. They're just more that like kind of logical, I don't want to factor in emotions. And Dr. K, who is Harvard, he's very impressive as a person. He's on YouTube, The Healthy Gamer. I love watching his channel, but he talks about like there's no such thing as being like a logical person. And a lot of times those people are the most emotional. And I feel like that's what this person's kind of recognizing. And that's what I'm getting with this, like the metal and like the teary-eyed, like they're recognizing like I've always been emotional and I was just trying to control my emotions. And I feel like maybe you said that, or there was a way that you could access this in this person, who you're trying to point it out that like, no, actually you are very emotional, and that's okay. But you have to factor that in. Otherwise, like you're not navigating from a place of like reality. I almost said truth, but it feels like reality. You're not navigating kind of the proper landscape. And I think this person's realizing that their emotions drove them into a ditch is what I just heard. And they thought that they were logically steering, and maybe that was away from you. And because something here I actually think felt very threatening to this person, the access you had, the way in which like their emotions came out. It could be that you have some type of sun energy on like this person's moon. And maybe this person doesn't like to feel vulnerable because that kind of warms up the moon. And in a way that typically feels good, like when it's the sun, because the sun can be like, it's a very warm, like life-giving kind of energy. And you're like, it's okay. But this person, I think, was scared of being like soft, and they were like, no, if I get softer and vulnerable, like the world's going to take advantage of me or something. But I think that this person kind of cut off I just heard cut off their nose to spite their face. But it's also like, they cut off like half, like their whole right brain, they cut off their whole, like half of them. They cut off like half of them. And it's a half that is good. And it's a half that like you kind of represent actually. And I think this person, I get the sense of this person watching you, maybe even teary-eyed. And they're watching you like in some way persevere or grow or expand. They could have even watched you cry. But those were tears that like transformed you, or like tears of power or tears of growth or something. And I just don't think this person understood that before. I just heard thank you. And that felt like it came from like their spirit. And it felt very small on the surface, because it was almost like from their spirit, it like ricocheted up, but it was like very small on the surface. Sarah, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. And it was like, thank you for showing me this. It's kind of what I'm getting. Thank you for showing me the power of, I just heard also the power of devotion. Maybe you're a very devoted person, and that could have been the thing that this person pushed in you. They knew that you were devoted to them, and to being kind and to being good. And that's maybe what this person felt like they could whip you around, with that kind of energy, like that you were always going to be like forever giving or something. And I think they hurt you too much. Like it was a bridge too far. They pushed you too far is just what I heard. And oh my gosh, like I just saw metal, like, okay, those back scratchers, like, okay, it's got like the teeth comb and then like you can scratch your back. I saw that, but it was like made of metal, and I just saw it scratch across like heart, like just sensitive, like kind of heart energy. Scratched an itch. Okay, so I feel like, yeah, this person logically, like very coldly scratched an itch, and maybe it was like to hurt you. Oh yeah, to like make them feel important, or like you loved or cared about them. So this could have been this person trying to make you jealous, or this person, yeah, cheated on you, or they're cold or they're harsh because a sense of your emotions, I think, made this person feel safe and secure. Because they felt like you were never going to go away or something. And it feels like kind of a poison pattern. I just heard that song. I think it's from the Backstreet Boys. It's like, now let me show you the shape of my heart. They want to show you the shape of their heart because they feel like they've always had heart for you, but that they never led with it. I just heard like a lead balloon. Yeah. This person may also have grown up in certain conditions that like poverty or something. And also, I think these are the things that they had modeled. This feels very much like family curse energy. And I think that you get all that. I think that you have like a lot of compassion, but something here was just too much for you. And they kind of know that as well. And they want to express something here. And I think that this person's also been through some kind of trying times with their heart. And I think, again, because this might connect back to what I was saying in the beginning, where it's like you guys went through the same thing together, or you guys went through a very similar experience, but you went one way and they went the other way. You dealt with it one way, they dealt with it a completely different way. And that's actually common. I was listening to something, I had a long time in the car on the way and on the way back. I was listening to something where they were saying like a lot of women will they say that a lot of men take breakups harder than women do, because they don't process, like where a lot of women will go in their shell, they'll cry and they'll talk things out like with their friends, even if it's embarrassing. Like, women have kind of a different culture where it's like, you can say like, I feel broken, I feel embarrassed, or whatever it is, like I feel humiliated, or I feel like, how could I have believed that, or whatever. Like you can say those things, because even though like it might make me it might make you feel a certain way, like I can't believe I was so like stupid, or I can't believe I was so trusting, or I hate myself for this. Like even though like you can say it, and because like women tend to be more like versed in emotions, you and your friends are like, well, of course you feel that way, but that's not necessarily like the truth, or it's okay to feel that way, but and like learn whatever you have to like learn from this, but it's part of being human, and like you're gonna grow from this, or everybody kind of goes through something like that, whereas like this person, I feel like they got very cold-minded and they didn't process it, and so because of that, it has to like work its way out slowly and like over time. And I think this person has kind of realized, and that's what I'm getting like with this pearl, because a pearl is like, it gets formed when, I always heard that it was like a bit of sand, but actually I think later on I heard that it was like some type of bacteria or something that would like get into the oyster and like really aggravate it. And that's what I think happened to this person. It aggravated, and then like over time, this became a pearl, and that's their heart. And I feel like they actually have that for you, and they want to show that to you. But also like notice in this self card, I think this person would tell you that they're finding out who they are. I also would think that this person would tell you that they put on a brave face. They put on a good show. Like they act like they're, happy, and that they're creative, or that they're vibrant, but they're still trying to figure out who they are. This is also a person who maybe they're trying to follow in your, okay, you left a legacy here is what I'm getting. You without even meaning to. And this is kind of the magic of like, I don't think you went in trying to rescue this person. I think that I'm getting the like peppy, like you can do it. Like, and you meant that, but you weren't trying to do it for this person or anything, but you were just like, no, you can absolutely do this. Or, cause this person remembers, oh my gosh. Okay. So this person remembers certain things that you said, but it's not just certain things that you said. It's like the emotion behind it, but it was the like can do attitude is what I'm hearing. Like, no, you really can do it. And there's just something you left this. It's very energetic. I don't know that this person would say that it's energetic, but that's how I would describe it. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah. Like you lit something in this person. And it's like kind of growing, and it feels embodied, and it feels like just very energetic. And this even could have been like over past lives. I don't know. And you might've felt frustrated because I feel like what you're trying to express to this person, you can't necessarily express in words. You could only kind of be a demonstration of it or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, this person is trying to follow in those footsteps. And I think in part they're trying to like see all the tie-dye and stuff. So I'm kind of like, maybe this person did take like a tie-dyeing class, they were like, whatever, it's $5 and I'm going to get out and I'm going to, meet certain people and I'm going to have a shirt at the end of it, if nothing else, or something like that. And it was something that you would do. I feel like this person was kind of thinking about something that you would do, and it would enrich you in some way that they didn't understand in the past. And they were like, let me just kind of see what this is all about. And I think maybe they are dragging themselves through it a bit, and they're kind of going through the motions a bit, but they're trying to see what it's all about. They're trying to see like the truth of what you said, and it is kind of changing them from the inside out. So I think they would say that you changed me. I have a soft spot for you is also what I'm getting. I also just heard I'm a big softie, and I don't think that's the impression that you got from this person. I think they treated you in a way that was cold and calculated, or just in a way that was like dismissive or like strategic, where you felt like you were just part of a plan, or you just felt like you were part of their repertoire of whatever, for their image or whatever. And this person is like, they really regret that, actually. There's a lot of what ifs. This person almost, I just saw them shake their head like this. They're almost like embarrassed to say that they have certain regrets, because in a weird way, they don't think that's what you would say. They are just trying to focus on like kind of moving forward. And that's kind of what I'm getting. So everything really does look so kind of dark and like depressed and sad around this person, but they're trying, and that's what they would say. And I feel like this person, okay, so I remember back in the day, I read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. That was kind of the big initiator of like, oh, I want to know what this spiritual stuff is about, which was big for me because I was like very Christian. And it was during the time when Oprah and Eckhart were doing those, like, they did those big like sessions. I want to say they were an hour long, but I think that they were actually more than that. I think you can still find them on YouTube, but I would tune in every single week with my little notepad, and they would take calls from people all over the world that would say, well, and I liked it because it was so applied. I love applied spirituality. Applied knowledge is really where it's at. So it's like, okay, I understand what you're saying, about the spiritual concept, but I'm in this certain situation. And it's like, so what am I supposed to do? Because it seems like counterintuitive, like, and so I would love that. But I remember that one of my friends was like, what do you want, Jess? Like, what is it that you want? And I tried to quote that book. I was like, well, just life is the dance, and I'm the dancer, and I just want to do that. And they go, you don't even know what that means. And I was like, I don't, but I want to know what it means. And someday I will know what it means. And I kind of feel like this person's like in that space. So maybe this is the beginning of a spiritual awakening. It's not a guarantee. It's very much not a guarantee that this person's going to kind of really catch like onto whatever it is, but they're curious. And also they might be more curious than they're letting on. This is also a person who might have made fun of like you for being spiritual. They might have been like, oh, it's that woo-woo stuff, or like whatever, like rolling their eyes. But I do think that spirit maybe put them in a certain position. Because I'm hearing in the darkness, like it's from Lord of the Rings when she says, a light for when all others go out. So this person, I think, going through a hard time, and it's pushed them inwards, where they're having to really connect with something. So all their normal tricks aren't working. All the normal things that they would try from that logical standpoint aren't working. So they're kind of wondering, what is this teaching me? And I do feel it's meant to push this person inwards, and it's to get their roots kind of like firm. And also they're reaching out for maybe you energetically, but I think this is like spirit, actually. So you've really played a big part, I feel like, in this person's human journey and like their spiritual experience. And this person is somewhat recognizing it. But they're, I just heard hollowed out. Like this person is kind of on the floor in some way. Could be depression, it could be financially, it could be there's something that they're going through some type of darkness, and they somehow remember you in this time, or they're thinking about you, or they're thinking about the way that you handle darkness, like going through like something here. I think for some they're realizing that they never knew that you were going through a hard time, and so they're, I don't know, fake it till you make it kind of stuff. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that's really what I'm getting. And this is like a what they want to say to you kind of thing. So I want to get some message cards, but I just reached for the what's the tea. So they might want to tell you some tea on themselves, because this person is going through a hard time, and I feel like there is some kind of tea there. And so I think this person would really like to say a lot to you. I just saw you guys sitting down for coffee, and this person I'm not saying that they would do this, but I think they just kind of want to unload on you and just kind of like blah, 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 like tell you from start to finish, like the story. But also there would be an emotional component. They would tell you what their emotions, why they did this. Because I think this person's also recognizing like why they did the things that they did and why they steered the way that they did. Because I think that you were some type of, well, I should have gone right with pile one. Instead I went left. So they could have gone with you, or I don't know. So starting from that point, I think this person would say, here's where things kind of went wrong for me. Here's also, I was trying to suppress this emotionally, or I was in denial about this emotionally, or I thought, even though I felt this way, which is maybe small or weak, or those things that I feel like we could say to each other, and it would be fine. Like, I felt humiliated, or I felt whatever. This person would say those things. It was like they felt small or weak. Ow. Funny bone. I hit my funny bone. Oh, again, this person, I was trying to make people laugh. This person also could have put you up there on that, like, you know, the thing that like they put people in with and they throw the tomatoes at them. They could have like made fun of you, or they could have, I don't know, to make themselves feel better. This person would have a why for why they treated you that way. And I'm not telling you that you have to forgive this person, because I saw in the comments somebody was like, there is no cure for NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder. So for some of you, you might not even think this is coming from a genuine place, or maybe it is, because I know that narcissists do have feelings. Like if it's just narcissism, you know, they do have feelings, and sometimes they can hit like rock bottom, and maybe that's what this person's doing. But you might not have faith that this person's gonna like really turn it around, but they would tell you about like they want to dust it off. They want to give you the inside scoop, and they want to give you the inside look about them and about I just heard their shower thoughts, like, you know, what they think about, you know, when the world kind of calms down. And okay, also I feel like, you know, because you clean yourself in the shower, hopefully, you know, and this person will want, it's like an emotional kind of cleansing. And I think for you, you really made a mark on this person. I feel like you're like a safe space for this person, or this person might not have many safe spaces, because again, the way that they navigate, it's like this person could be like a ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da kind of thing, you know? And so the wrong people are, if you're never going to drop that, then, you know, they never have a chance even to like you for something else. Chemistry. I've never felt a passion this intense. This person would say that they were maybe in denial about the chemistry between the two of you, and they were running from it. I just heard I was trying to outrun myself. Absence. I feel like a part of me is missing without you. This person really feels your absence, and your absence made I just heard abscess. But your absence really made a mark on this person. Like they felt it very deeply, and they recognize it now. But also I think this person feels like absent. They feel emotionally absent, but it's because they live their life so long not tending to their emotions, and they're really feeling that now. It feels hollowed out, like those caves that I saw. Feels like hollowed out. And those were also, those caves were formed by like water over time, for sure, like just kind of moving through over time. And in certain places, like, you know, like pressure, certain kinds of like pressure events. And I feel like this person's kind of no different, but they're showing me the caves in this like person's heart, almost like a, you know, dune, like those big worms that kind of go through the sand. It's almost like that. Okay, so let's just get any other messages that want to come out. I feel connected to you. Yeah, this person feels connected to you. I miss you, in all caps. I miss you and I feel connected to you. And I was a fool for not admitting it earlier. That's what I should have been connecting with you through my emotional space, through my vulnerability. I should have been able to be soft to you and open to you and caring towards you and about you and around you. But instead, I was very like the Tin Man in my mind, and my intentions can be selfish at times. That's kind of at the bottom. Because this person, like that's the driver of like, I miss you. Like this person drove you away, and it's because their intentions can be selfish at times. I keep writing and deleting messages. Yeah. This could be to other people as well. Maybe this is a person who is like messaging other people, and that's because their intentions can be selfish. But yeah, and that was to like prop them up emotionally. But also I feel like this person's writing and deleting messages to you. And look, now we have got my intentions are pure. So my intentions can be selfish at times. My intentions are pure. And then, hold on, this wants to come out. You are the reason I keep going. That's kind of in a shell what I'm getting. And I feel like in a shell is kind of apt here. There could be Cancer placements that this person has, because Cancer can be self-protective. But this, I feel like there's different ways that people can be self-protective. And this feels kind of out of pocket, like, and mean and like offensive to be defensive, you know? But yeah, this person wants to tell you that their intentions are pure, but they don't know how to tell you because they can't just tell you now because of like whatever's gone on here. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys, pile number 1. I also just heard keep on keeping on, keep going. That was from somebody's guides. They just went, keep going. Like one of your guides just went like, keep going. They're like cheering you on. So that feels like they're glad that you accomplished this. Your spirit guides are coming through now. They're glad that you overcame this. This was a big thing for you to overcome and to process. And I think to realize that it's not your fault, and that this was kind of a bottomless pit where you keep pouring and pouring and pouring into it, and that it never was going to really change or matter. So I think you let go. But okay, so for some of you, I'm hearing like, we told you, in some way your guides told you that you had to let this go, that the effect that you wanted to have, which I think was a hopeful healing, like, why aren't you getting it? You know, for some of you, it's like, well, I'm trying to explain, like, why aren't you getting it? You had to kind of leave it go, leave it behind. And for this person to kind of be, oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Yes. Like your guides are like, yes, you're starting to get it. So you kind of left your legacy there. You did all you could do, which is just to show the way. They didn't want you wrapped up in a rescuer, victim, persecutor thing with this person. So you kind of did all that you could do, you know, and I just heard this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That's what you're doing. And Spirit was like, you gotta let this go. You gotta let this go, babe. And you did. And you're like, it's not up to me. You moved away. And now all of a sudden this person's kind of getting downloads is what I'm hearing. They're just kind of getting it. It's like clicking, 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 clicking. Because they needed the distance, they needed the space, and they needed to see you where this went for you, because this person didn't believe you. That's what I'm getting. And this reminds me, this is the last thing I'll say. I know I'm very long-winded, but I remember hearing a story about, well, actually it was an interview with Dak Shepard, and he was talking about Kristen Bell, who is his wife. That's a Hollywood couple if you don't like follow these things. He was kind of like the bad boy, he was addicted to something. I'm not sure, drugs, like some kind of something. I'm not sure what it was. But he said about Kristen Bell, like when they were first starting out in their careers, they were dating, and he would say, "Oh, you're just going to get taken advantage of by the world. That's so stupid. You shouldn't just like blindly trust." But then, he's like, she became much more successful than me, and I just had to kind of stop and be like, that's working out for her. So she would make genuine friends wherever she went, and she would get calls, like, "Hey, are you interested in this? Yeah, are you interested in that?" Because she's such a genuine, authentic person. And yeah, there are the wrong people to be around. But if you've got kind of both the left and the right brain working, where you can say, "Oh, okay, I'm not safe over here," but it doesn't mean that you erode that beautiful heart that you have, and you just go where you're wanted and you go where you are safe, then it allows like very beautiful things to happen. And this person didn't believe you about that. They needed something to play out differently for you in order for them to kind of see it. Nikki, thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, trusted spirit with that seed and toot it on down the lane. I'm excited to hear this. Thanks, Jack. JAC. Yes. So yeah, your guides are, I think this was a learning experience for you, but it was kind of like on a higher level. And it was, for some of you, is how to work with your guides, and also like how to trust the voices inside of you. Because I think some of you were taught like not to give up on people, and this felt like giving up on somebody, and it's not. And this is kind of like, you hear a lot of this in the twin flame community. And as somebody who grew up very Christian and has like Christian guilt, you just kind of hear it, it's like a dog whistle. You kind of hear that like guilt, and it's like, you're not wrong or like guilty for if this is an untenable situation, like, and you're drowning, like you have to get out of it. And that is the right move for both of you, because sometimes people can't really like see it. Kirsty, thank you so much for the super chat. Longman goddess. Yes. So on that, I'm going to wrap up pile number 1. You really made a mark on this person. You really did. You really, really did. And I think they're going through it, but you've kind of given them the map without even trying and without realizing it. And it's up to them to kind of figure it out, So, okay. Jess Alex Coven has become JAC for me. I like it. Forgiveness and cutting off is okay. Exactly. Because a lot of us that are women or spiritual or kind, or like, we want to live our lives by like the 10 commandments even, it's like, sometimes it can be hard to find that line where it's not service, or it's not like helping. It's just enabling some type of bad behavior. And yeah. So I feel like you guys, this is a group that very much has lived that from the inside out. Okay. So I'm just going to throw this up, y'all. So if you're just joining us, we just did pile number 1, which is the tier, and then we're moving on to the box next. And that self that's up there in the corner is the anchor card. It's not one of the choices, but it's the common energy. And so we added it to this slide so that you can just kind of connect with that energy and keep seeing like the image and stuff. So if it's like saying anything to you, they'll be aight. I thought C was for cats. I thought it was for cats too, but they're part of the coven. It's the cat coven. Okay. I'm going to compassion and lip gloss. Exactly. Blocking their natural consequences is not helpful for over the long term ever. XO. So true. Life itself is the teacher here that we all kind of submit to, and we don't want to kind of get in the way of that. And that also goes to like your inner voice, because sometimes we're called to help people, and you'll feel that very strongly. It's not that that I think that's what some spiritual people are afraid, like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do? Just like become cold, or like just never help anybody. And that I'm hearing that might be a trauma response, like a pain response, because you didn't feel helped. But also like, yeah, I just saw somebody kind of shake something off. Because I think that you've become a badass, but I think that for some people it's like still really painful, because it's like nobody should have to go through what you went through, and you are kind of right about that. But spirit is guiding people the way that it needs to, is what spirit is saying. There's like a higher wisdom or something. Oh my. Cats are part of the coven. Dab. Okay, so I think we're going to move on to pile number 2, which is the box. I'm just going to put a little of that in the air. Okay. The box. Okay, there's some kind of, this is a very interesting energy that's coming through. It really is. This person has like, that you're asking about. And for some of you, maybe this is your energy if the energies are flipped, so take it how it resonates. But this person has a very unique energy, and maybe is hard to reach or like very accomplished in some way or something. And so what would this person say to you? What would this person say? Let me just, it's got to feel right here. Okay, interesting. Okay. So the 8 of Pentacles came out in reverse. So I think that, I feel like there's some type of hard time that's going on here. And everything is goo. This is like one of the times in your life where everything has kind of collapsed in and on itself. And you're like, well, what I thought I knew, I didn't exactly know. And, the way that this might connect to pile number 1 in this way of the way that I was navigating and how I would make my choices. It's not how I know I can't move forward in that same energy because I've been shown the limit of that. I've been showing, or the outright falseness of that. So what do? Well, this is a person who, first of all, they would prefer not to say much. This is very much a doer kind of an energy. And they would prefer that you kind of sniff around and like just kind of absorb what it is, because this is like a very holistic person. Whatever it is that they would tell you, it's like very holistic, but it's holistic in a way. So see what like the corners, like, so one here, and then you got to take a 90-degree turn up here, and then you got to take a 90-degree up here. Because sometimes when we think about things being holistic and you kind of just see it kind of melding together. This person has seemingly contradictory truths that they would tell you that kind of do all fit together, but it's like you'd have to pick up one, and then you have to pick up another, and then you have to pick up another, and then and build it kind of all. So this person is very process oriented. But I think right now they would say, well, don't be in your routine, and like now's not the time for fighting through. Now might be the time to spend some time alone, to recharge your batteries. And I'm just seeing like this light kind of grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And that might seem counterintuitive. And I do think that advice could be dangerous in certain scenarios. But it doesn't feel like in this scenario. It feels like maybe this is a paradox point of just I don't know, like just allowing yourself to be here for a moment in time, not indefinitely, because there feels like maybe there's some heartbreak and some pain, and it's like feeling that pain, processing through that pain, or it could even be like a contract, like there's a lot of anxiety here. And so it's like, you need space, and you need to be on this, like, I just saw the star, which is like that kind of healing energy, heal the broken heart. This is also a place, it's something to do with people, to make sure that you're surrounded by the right people and that you have the right people in the right positions. And I don't know if that is like in some type of practical, tangible way, like maybe you are a manager or you're running a business. And so it's like really re-examine the people here, because some of you might be feeling betrayed. And so you might have the wrong people in the wrong positions, but that also could be in your life, in your social life. You might have the wrong people in the wrong positions. And so it might be necessary to kind of just to withdraw in and of yourself, and just to kind of feel that pain. Because right now that's kind of the loudest thing, pain or a betrayal or restriction in some way, that you've signed a contract and it feels like a betrayal, or it feels like, I don't know. So it's like dealing with that. But this has to do with making sure that this has to do with organization. This person would actually talk to you about organization. Take a time to process, to feel certain things, and to kind of get that out of your system. Not too terribly long, but just enough time that you need. And then this is about organization. And that organization, just take it one step at a time. See the lines here in this box? It's like one step, one step, one step, one step. Just kind of build it in this holistic way, like over time. And that's going to bring about some type of healing, because there's something here that you might not realize, or they might not know about, or it's a time for rest. It's a time for healing. You might feel like you're in an unwinnable or an untenable situation. I'm kind of getting that for this group, that whatever is going on here is like really tough. And you feel like you feel stuck, but it's like you feel that it's your best move to stay stuck. Like it feels like a place of safety to kind of, in regards of like the material, whatever's material around you, it feels like it's safest to kind of stay stuck. But it's actually safest to be in the Knight of Pentacles energy, to move. Something's going to come to you more when you move. But it's in that Knight of Pentacles way, slowly, one step. And it is this kind of routine energy, but they're saying that's going to be the answer for you, but it's not like right away, you know? It's about connecting like and feeling the pain of something and the misery of something, or like, for some of you, this has to do with somebody that you trusted, somebody that you thought like would always be there, but this person seems like very cut off from you. Let me just see. Number 2 sounds like both sides of me personally. Yeah. Okay, so what's going on here? Oh my gosh. Okay, so somebody is like very angry. I don't know if this is you or if this is someone else. Let me just see what's going on here. That was a squirrel. I feel like for some of you, you feel like someone has like manipulated to kind of push you out and to push you away from a group that you love or from people that you love or something here. And you feel, or that person has used you to manipulate and push someone else away, somebody that you love very much. And you feel like this rabbit. You feel very small and kind of timid, but also the rabbit for me is always a symbol of psychological astuteness. Like you understand the psychology of all of it. And I feel like you feel stuck and you feel pain, like from being used in this way, or you know that it's, I don't know which side you're on. You either know that that's what's happening, that somebody that maybe you think is really cute and that you love and everything and should be harmless, like in and of themselves, they've been utilized by this person who's very like entrenched and manipulative. Somebody who's very manipulative and maybe had a plan to cause heartbreak, to cause a betrayal, to cause like some type of pain here. They had like a plan to maybe get someone into some kind of contract or some type of bind. And that could be karmic here as well. Where they because they partnered with this, and then they caused this together, like now somebody is working through that kind of karma. But this is about learning. And this person would tell you it's about learning. Okay, so what have you learned? Okay, you feel like there's things you can leverage here in this situation. I feel like very psychologically astute, you know? So it's like, and for some of you, I think you feel like you're in the belly of the beast, kind of, you know? So you're very psychologically astute. You're in the belly of the beast. The goal is not to be there again, ever. So just look around, you know, and kind of get your bearings. Yeah, I do think there's a secret. Oh my gosh. And the devil, temptation. Oh my gosh. And the emperor. This is heavy, heavy energy. High priestess, the devil, and the emperor. This had to do with taking temptation that was some type of like devilish partnership here. I can't show you the devil card, I don't think. And then like, but it was for some type of like, my throat, like status, or like, I know what I'm doing. It was a plan. There's some type of plan here of like, okay, I know that. So this person would say like, just notice that. Notice like the temptation. Notice what it pulls inside of you. And notice the difference of the offerings here. Because, okay, this, to me, I'm not getting a very good vibe off of this high priestess energy, to be honest, even though this is usually a really good card. Because she's got that apple there, and it does kind of remind me of like the Snow White story. And I know there was a reading that came out. I'm not sure if it's like out yet or not, but she gave Snow White the poison apple. That wasn't the only thing she gave her in the original story. She gave her a comb to put in her hair. It was tempting. She was trying to figure out what is it that Snow White wants. I think there was a ring on her finger, a very pretty ring. So the devil is kind of good at that devilish energy. It's like, okay, well, what do you want or what do you need? Oh, I can offer you, but you don't realize it comes with shackles. You don't realize that you're not free. And, you know, you can have this kind of, you know, position or whatever, but that's a much different offer than this Ace of Pentacles, because the Ace of Pentacles is stable. And it's like, well, maybe I'm not high up in the clouds, and maybe I'm certainly not high up in the clouds like right away, but I've got solid ground under my feet. I've got a place to sit. I've got all I need. And it's going to move slowly with the pentacles, but it's real. And it's like coming from the divine. It's coming from like heaven. So just notice how this feels, like how the difference feels, and question about your own wish fulfillment. I think this experience or this approach taught you something about your wish fulfillment. I'm hearing like, it's something like, well, what I thought I wanted, I'm seeing through the veil. Cause I think somebody here maybe wanted materialism. They thought that this was everything that they wanted, but actually now they're just trapped. And they're like, I would give anything for freedom. I mean, you don't really understand. Health and freedom, I think, are two things that people just really kind of take for granted. Cause it's like when you have it and you're feeling like really good, then you're like, sure, I'll eat this thing that I know is going to make me feel bad or whatever, like it's so easy to take those things for granted. And so, yeah, and I'm hearing like down here from the ground, I see who you are. But this feels like big things like health, freedom. So it's like, I would give anything for a little bit of freedom. I would rather have this, I would rather have a single room that was entirely mine with a bed, with clothes, with, and a warm meal every single day than to have all of this, but then I have to put up with all this crap, like just notice these things because the goal is not to be here again, like really feel that, really kind of like learn those lessons. Yeah, judgment. Something is being unearthed. Okay, so I think that, well, what would this person say? This person is kind of, again, I don't think that they really want to say much. You might have thought that this person was a bit of a square in the past. And, okay, so, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. Kobe Jai was saying like, well, I feel like this is two parts of me. So this is like kind of maybe the angel and the devil. And that angel part of you you might have thought that it was a square in the past. Like, oh, well, you just don't want me to have any fun. And sometimes that can be a defense mechanism. Like, you probably noticed this in other people when you're like, hey, like, I want to make this like healthy change. And then they'll go like way over. They'll exaggerate what it is that you were saying. You're like, I just said that I wanted to cut back on red meat. And this person's like, oh, so we're never going to have meat ever again a day in our life. Like, is that, and you're like, that's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying. Sometimes we can do that in our own minds to just kind of like invalidate something. But it also could be that for some of you, I think that you were in a position or somebody was where it was like one or the other, like, okay, I either hang out with like the church kids who are like the square, or I hang out with these people that are like doing stuff in the woods back in the, I don't know, doing something like out of pocket, like which am I going to go with? But you didn't feel like there was a point of balance or, there's something here like, yeah, you could have really thought somebody was a square, but unlearn that. How can you unlearn that? And I'm hearing Rumi in my mind, the highest form of learning is unlearning. So there's a lot of unlearning that has to go on here. Okay, yeah, I'm getting that. There's a lot of unlearning that has to go on here is what this person would say. The things that you assumed were true are not true. I can only have fun. Fun looks like this. Fun actually looks like not having to worry, not having to like look over your back. That's when you can really have fun, like the good, clean kind of fun. And that sounds boring to some people, but if it's genuinely like good, clean fun, like actual fun, like I just feel like, yeah. And it's like always going to be fun or something. And if it wasn't in the past, like there could be like a bit of a dopamine junkie kind of thing. Again, it's like you're in a perfect position is what this person would say to like just disentangle this like right now. Oh, well, what I thought was fun was actually like me being a dopamine junkie. And what is the difference between just dopamine hits and fun? What is fun? And I think I told you guys I love to do this. I have this book where I'll take words that I think I know what they mean, words like fun, words like accountability, and I'll just spend like the morning just like researching fun. That sounds so like a square. I think for some of you, you're like, oh my God, you're such a square. Or like accountability. So what goes into accountability, how do because we try to be accountable, but then sometimes when the heat is on and you feel like put upon, how can I be a person of integrity and accountability, right? So you kind of like explore all of that and like disentangle it. So this person would say like, this is a part of your human path. This is like, so just like chew through it, like just kind of digest it. Like, where are you? And try not to hate yourself too much, because you were human and you made mistakes and you were operating on some type of like presumption that you've now learned is false. So there's some unlearning that has to go on here of, okay, well, if I want to be successful, for some of you, this has to do with success and what success looks like, but also what success feels like to you, in a relationship and something here. Yeah. So for some of you, I feel like this is you, or like we were saying, like it's two sides of you, Oh my gosh, the chariot, and two sides work in harmony. Okay, so this is also shadow work. So this is very, very strange because I feel like when we look, it's not very strange in its like application, but it's strange in the way I feel like you don't hear a lot of. If you look around in the spiritual community, you might not hear a lot of people talk about this, where we're always taught how to look at the shadow, but what happens if like the light, the goodness is a square to you? That becomes your shadow, where it's like, I don't want to be seen as a square. So like being accountable, showing up on time, like those kinds of things might actually be stuffed in your shadow, and you can actually be very drawn to that in a person or in a company or something that you're working for, but you yourself don't want to embody it because you don't want to be like the square, So we have to like disentangle that and give yourself permission to be like a nerd. Also, I just have to say it. I feel like some of you have like a bit of repressed nerd where like there's something here that probably you could geek out about, but you did that once as a kid. Oh my gosh, I feel like you did this once as a kid. This feels so visceral to me. Like I want to laugh and I want to like, where you might have, I don't know, say you really like moss or something, everything there is to know about moss, and you were like hanging out with your friends or something and somebody like touched moss and they called it slime or something. You're like, actually that's moss. And like, then you like went on and on about moss and they were like, what a square. And then you never did that again, but some of you are like voracious learners, or there's something that you really like, but you just thought like, oh, I can never be that. But that is the key to your success, and it's the key to being around people who like you for you and who can teach you a thing or two about moss. And that would feel very fulfilling to you. But it's like, you see what I'm saying? I feel like this is a group that has to overcome the squareness. Also, I think that this is a group that might assume that routine and like being a square, okay, like being planned out or having a routine or like just doing the regular everyday stuff has to be a drag. Like it has to be boring. But actually what it does is it ensures that you can, like, okay, so life and spirituality, if you boil spirituality down, this is what you don't hear enough spiritualists say this. You'll hear all of them go into like the emotional stuff. Really, to me, it's about how to be like conservatory, but how to manage your energy. That's what spirituality is. You have a finite amount of energy. How are you going to spend it, right? So when you have like a healthy routine, it doesn't take as much brain power for you to go through that routine. You can kind of go through it in a mindless way. So what it does is it gives you freedom, essentially. See, that's a paradox. Kind of being a part of like the rat race or like a routine, having a certain routine, that is actually what gives you, it frees up energy in your mind where you can kind of start to plan something else. It also gives you a footing. If you have like a healthy routine, it gives you a footing, and that's the soil that these other fruits are kind of grown in. But if you're going to condemn that soil and just say, I'll never be a part of it, you don't ever have any firsthand experience of that soil to actually make up your own mind. And actually what I'm being told is that for a lot of you, I'm going to say this. For a lot of you, I think you were surrounded by, I just heard losers, loser, as if whatever with a twist. What I mean by that is you were surrounded, they're not losers, okay? But people who wanted you to lose. And you didn't understand that. They were threatened by you. Some of you were sabotaged. And I think that's what you're going to have to kind of realize is that people who told you it was dumb to be a square couldn't actually do it. They weren't good in school. So to them, that couldn't be like the path forward. So they told you and everybody else that only lamos try. Only lamos apply themselves, right? And so you believe that and you're like, yeah, I'm not a lamo. I don't know math either. Like, I'm not saying that you don't know math, but you get what I'm saying. You probably did. Like in Mean Girls where like Lindsay Lohan pretends to like not know math so that Aaron Samuels like have a crush on her. And those things are not necessarily linked. This is what I'm saying. There's like unlearning. Like you could be smart. And he actually liked the real her, didn't he? He liked that she was, welcome back, nerd. That's what he said. Welcome back, nerd. That's an authenticity. People are very drawn to authenticity, So I think for some of you, I think you were genuinely sabotaged kind of early on by people who felt insecure in their own abilities. And what they really needed was somebody like you to say, hey, it's no problem. Like I can come over after school. We'll work a little bit on math and then we can go to the park together. And that's what they really needed. But they felt so insecure that they couldn't ask it. And so then you have these kind of cool guy coping mechanisms or cool girl coping mechanisms that look like Danny Zuko in Grease, like, God, I'm so cool to apply myself. But actually they had this like one hurdle that they couldn't, it's kind of what I'm getting. It's like, okay, well, I'm like struggling in reading in third grade. And if I just spent a little bit of time and got over that hurdle, then I wouldn't have that kind of weird, like where you feel kind of small or something, like whatever. They couldn't ask for help. is what I'm getting. Like, they just couldn't ask for help. For some of you, maybe this is you, where you're recognizing, like, I didn't actually think that it was dumb. I was actually jealous of the people who were able to be like squares. So there needs to be this, like, it's kind of cool to have a thriving community. It's kind of cool, to be able to rely on each other. It's kind of cool when the community organizes together, we can make some cool shit happen. If you want to live I was always very, this is just like a side note, I was always very jealous of Spanish culture in particular. My maiden name threw people off kind of, and people would be like, do you know Spanish, or, do people speak Spanish in your home? And I'm like, no, not at all. I have no connection to this culture, like, at all. I just like it because to me, Spanish culture was religious, because I used to be very extremely religious. Like, I like that. It gives me like a grounding. But also they like to party, and they like food, and they like colors, and they all like do it together, So like Spanish culture, first of all, like, shout out to the siesta. It just seemed to me like it was just built for humans, and they have these like regular parties, and the whole community comes together. They put on these parades, and they dress up, and like it's full blown, like it's full on. Well, we can do those things if like we have the basics kind of covered, That's when the flower can bloom. And that's what I want. That's what I want so bad, but we all kind of have to contribute in the ways that we know how to contribute, and then maybe there would be more time to rest or whatever. So I feel like the square is what's like kind of being overcome here. Don't be afraid of the square, and consider the source, like consider why someone is telling you that it's not cool to have a schedule, or like it's not cool to be reliable and accountable. It might be because that person can't do it and they're not getting the help that they need. Because I also am hearing things like ADHD. Like, these are people, I'm telling you, I feel it's such a disservice that we do not learn about our own psychology like in elementary school, starting like later years in elementary school, where we start to learn about our brains, and that not all brains are the same, and we have to figure out how our brains work so that we can kind of work with them. And I feel like you were kind of dealing with somebody like that, that was having a struggle and maybe felt called out in class, because the teacher would have to help them or something. And so in order to shield their ego, they felt like that it's weak to have help. See, I wish we could change all these things at a cultural level where it shouldn't be weak, because we're all going to need help at some periods of time. And that's one of the strongest things that you can do is just, I know that I've like literally in my head been like, Jessica, you don't understand this. Like, be a person who will ask a question first, like just to set that tone, of like, it's okay to not know everything. It's okay to like, because sometimes like there are like, I don't know, I've always struggled spatially. Like there are certain things like I do not understand spatially. And so I just have to, even though I think it's like a stupid question sometimes, like I'll still ask, because I'm here to learn. I want to know something when I leave, and I want to take advantage of an opportunity of having like a teacher. And that way I'm not in that position again, So I think that's basically, that's it for this group, where it's something here about the square. This person would say, embrace the square. I think for some of you think this person's cool in some kind of way. And they're like, well, maybe I wasn't always cool, or I was still trying to figure it out. Because there's like a lot of lines in here, I had to like build it up. And I wasn't seen as cool for a long time until all of a sudden I was cool. And it's just because I got myself situated. This is talking about organizing, like inwardly organizing. But in order to organize, you have to embrace the square. Be the square. We should all have square patches that we sew onto our jackets. Be the square. You are the square. And also, like, I'm getting, like, again, that town square. This is what builds healthy, thriving communities where we're encouraged to be our best selves, And yeah. Anyways, this is kind of a cool one, I thought. Somebody here has like a very unique, interesting energy, but they would tell you, I think for some of you, this person would tell you the secret to my success is being a square. This is the person who's like, yeah, I didn't spend all my money at the bar. I invested it in this random thing, and like that I happen to know about because I'm a nerd, and it just worked out for me. Like, it's cool to know stuff. It's cool to like be informed, or something. Like, this person maybe has a cool story, but it's like, I was like conserving. That's what spirituality is all about. I was conserving my time and energy, and I was putting it into things that were building my foundation. That's the secret. It's no big secret. It's just, it can be kind of hard to do. And especially in a culture where, and I think like I grew up in America, so it's like very competitive. It's like this workhorse kind of culture. You are like your job and like your status and like your work and everything. I know a lot of you grew up in that too. And, so it's hard when you're a beginner. Like, you're just never allowed to be a beginner. And I think some of us, like I've just had to get used to this too, where I'm just like, well, I'm a beginner. So like, get off my back. Which one of us is truly stupid if you can't see like that I'm a beginner and that I'm just trying? Like it has to be like, how are you ever supposed to get anywhere if you're not allowed to try? Like I don't know. And get used to being embarrassed. Like that's the other thing too. Like learn to laugh at yourself. Learn to laugh at yourself. Learn to make yourself laugh, like be like, oh God, why am I like this? Everyone's looking at me, yeah, just kind of roll with it. So yeah, that's pile number 2. Nerdy. Okay. That was pile number 2. Okay, so I'm just going to throw this back up, y'all. We just finished pile number 2 for those of you that are just joining us, which is the box. And then now we're moving to pile number 3, which is the empty room. And the one up in the top, I'm not sure which side of it. I think it's all backwards for me. But that one on the top is the anchor card. The self card is the anchor card. It's not a choice, but it's a little bit in each pile. So I'm just saying that because I feel like we read the cards together. And I feel like if you're drawn to tarot in any way, you're intuitive and you're kind of cultivating that intuition side of yourself. And I think I pick up on like more general stuff. But if you pick up on something like that's more specific, you might even want to throw it in the comments because it'll probably apply to some people. There's a hump to get over when embracing one's authenticity, whatever shape it is. Humans are hilarious and awesome. Yeah. Yes. Master the student function. Amen. The student function is the engine. And you can't be a student unless you're willing to be like, well, I don't know. And it's really a blessing too, because in spirituality, they always talk about beginner's mind, like being able to cultivate beginner's mind. Okay. Here we go. Pile number 3, the empty room. The empty room. Okay, so for some of you, there's like strong guide energy that's coming through in this because some of you are like, maybe feel forsaken by your guides. Oh, look, this is the Messages of Love Oracle deck. They want to bring you messages of love. C. Conaway, CC, thank you so much for the super chat and the dancing avocado. Okay, I'm getting that. I don't know if this is you or if this is somebody here or like some of you are asking about your spirit guides or something, but I feel like some of you feel like empty or you feel like stuck in a room. And seeing like these stars here is like being your shining lights, like being your spirit guides. And some of you feel like kind of isolated and alone, but also it's in like a transparent room where you can kind of see out. And some of you are feeling like, well, why won't you help me out of this? But there's something that they want you to see or something. This is somehow like a classroom, whatever's going on. And that might be like a side message for this group because but let's see. So what does this person, or for some of you, this is like an entity or a guide, or this even could be somebody passed on. And somebody was asking to do passed on messages here over on Patreon. Okay, so, oh look, destiny. I'm struggling to find my right path. Somebody here is like struggling to find the right path. Oh boy. Okay, so what would this person say? Unexpected outcome. And also third parties at the bottom of the deck. Forgiveness. I feel like this is a group that needs to forgive themselves for something. I think some of you have been praying or you've been asking for forgiveness, and I'm just hearing like, forgive yourself. Like you made a mistake, you messed up, okay? Like, and maybe you feel like that has put you, there's an unexpected outcome in regards of your destiny. Or for some of you, you're being asked to embrace some type of like unexpected outcome in regards of your destiny. Unappreciated. I felt like you didn't care. I think some of you feel like your guides didn't care because you went through some kind of situation and it made you realize your flaws or something here. Okay, I still can't tell if some of you are asking about somebody that's passed over, that has in a way kind of, you talk to this person, I think. Like this is maybe a spirit guide or something. This is somebody who is like giving you, that's what's coming through right now. That might not be what you ask for, and maybe we'll kind of dip into that. But I think that you're being asked to untangle, like, what does love mean? So I remember when I was growing up, and I've said this a lot, my dad used to say to me, kid, I love you too much to let you act like that. And because sometimes I was like acting out of pocket, and it was his job to like raise me. So he had to discipline me. He had to tell me, no, or restrict me in some way. And that is love. And so I think that some of you have been through something and maybe you feel like you weren't loved. Unexpected outcome and regret. I do think that you've gone off your path. Like this is a group that feels like you've gone off your path, but it doesn't mean that all is lost. Like, because it feels like, okay, well, you had this kind of like your highest path, and how many people hit their highest path? We reference the highest path to help kind of that's the compass. It's like the compass always points north, right? And that's how you're able to kind of decipher where it is that you're supposed to go. The point of that is not to like just overwhelm you with guilt, So this is like your North Star, your highest and best path, because that's what your soul came here to like learn certain lessons. So if you were hitting all of those lessons just perfectly, right? It would have led to this like highest and best path. Well, okay, you didn't hit your highest and best path. So what? A lot of people don't, and I think some of you feel like, well, why wouldn't you help me? Or why wouldn't you? And yeah, there's some disagreement on there's a disagreement on some type of satisfaction energy. So what you're saying, I feel unsatisfied. Your guides are saying you feel unworthy. And those are two different things. And maybe we need to work on your worthiness here. So they would talk to you about habits. We would talk about worthiness. So there's habits that I feel like that you engage in, or maybe that they did. I don't know. Take this, whichever side of the coin this is resonating with for you. There's habits that you have developed out of unworthiness. I don't know if I will ever change. So for some of you, I think you're feeling like maybe I don't know what these habits could be, but they're bad habits in your mind, and probably not just in your mind. Like they're yielding to negative outcomes. I'm not trying to make you doubt that at all. Like I think like, okay, well, I have these bad habits, and it leads to some kind of, you think that you have these bad habits because you feel unsatisfied, but again, they're linking this to unworthiness. You feel like unworthy. Detach. Okay, I just heard detach with love to see clearly. That's from another deck here. Detachment and understanding. Some kind of detachment was needed here to see like another side of the story, a different side of the story. And maybe some of you are feeling overwhelmed with this epiphany. This is actually an enlightenment experience, which can mean that you're on the right path, but it feels bad, So, okay, I think this is like a group to understand about like feelings and what feelings are, and also like same, because every single time I've gone to therapy, I always have to like relearn what feelings are and what they're not. And I don't care to admit that, okay? Because I am also a person, and maybe this is helpful too. Like I will just keep relearning the basics over and over again. I just kind of recircle the basics, but always my therapist at some point will kind of say, feelings are not facts. The feelings are data points. They're helpful for us to like know kind of where we sit, but our feelings are not facts. And I feel like this group kind of takes a feeling of I am unworthy. Oh, and this kind of, I think, links to a fixed mindset. Like I feel bad or something. And I think that as you move even out of this, like you still might feel bad, but you're processing through it, and you're not necessarily always going to feel bad. There's something it hurts to say, or it's hard to say, or it's like hard to own up to. And it's just because you feel unworthy. And I think some of you feel unworthy of like resource, of like getting help or assistance. Like, okay, say you just had a baby and like you need help. Like you want to go sign up for WIC or something. And you're like, well, I don't want to be a drain on the system. Like, no, that's what it's there for. And those, the statistics on that show that like in 5 years time, not only is your baby healthier, but a lot of people, I remember reading a story recently, and this woman was like, yeah, I was on WIC and thank God for that. And now I pay so much more into taxes like than I earned back. And I'm happy to like pay that forward. Don't feel bad about needing help and like needing resources. Like life always like unfolds in seasons. And so I think this is a group that maybe needs some type of structure or needs some type of assistance or needs to reach out for help. And just like, it's okay. You feel unworthy. There's a secret here. There's a secret. Some of you are trying to reflect on a secret alone. And I think it's maybe because like you're embarrassed. And this could be like that you're unhappy, or that I don't know, there's some type of secret you're trying to reflect alone. And I feel like you just need a little help, you need a little assistance, but you don't feel worthy of that. There's unworthiness is like big here in this group. And, maybe for some of you, you've spent like a time alone, like in isolation, and your guides are like, you don't have to be in isolation. Like it's okay for you to like ask for help or something. Soul tie. Okay, so what does Spirit want to say about this soul tie? Let me see. What is wanting to come through here? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've got strength and the moon. Hey babe, I think the battery. Okay. Strength and the moon. Hey babe.
Yeah.
I think my phone needs to be plugged in.
I understand.
Oh, okay. Both major arcana. So this is like deep stuff. It is like soul kind of oriented stuff. And you could be like dealing with a person here who is actually very strong. Some of you feel ashamed. Okay, so I can totally relate to this. All of us can as human beings. So you feel ashamed to approach somebody who's really strong in something and ask them for their help. You know what you're doing. Can you help me? I feel burdened. Some of you are scared to even like that you're burdening somebody else. And maybe you are. And the worst that they're going to say to you is like, hey, I've got too much on my plate right now. But they can maybe point you in the right direction. You're comparing yourself to somebody that's very strong. This is something about this is meant to like help you build this. There's a secret here. It's eating you up inside. And, the truth about something here, it makes you feel really defensive around like an empress sending a message here. This could be to a mom. This could be, I don't know, to somebody who just really like has it going on. Some of you want to send a message to somebody who like is strong internally and like who is strong, I think, externally, and you're not so strong. And, yeah, it's like, help me, teach me, and okay, so the one thing is like, if it's a certain person and if that's a person that you've hurt, then maybe that's not the best thing. But like, I'm kind of getting like professional, like reaching out to, if there's more than one person that does that job, reach out to somebody like that, like reach out to a therapist. Again, like applying for WIC or something, like reach out to that office where like you're not bothering people, like that's their job, to like help you and to assist you and to kind of help you sort things out. We all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and we all need help. Like kind of sorting things out. Yeah, you're confused here about it feels like such a long journey. Something here feels like such a long journey. So now this is kind of like, like how do I get over these like habits? Or maybe there's something that's kind of bubbled up and that like habits kind of got you there. So it feels like a long journey and you're confused and you're also like kind of maneuvering in secret, trying to figure out, okay, how can I reach out? But just do it. There's also like a secret about this Knight of Wands energy. So maybe there's a secret about not sticking to a program. Maybe for some of you, it's like, well, I did get help before and I failed at it. And now there's like this functioning dysfunction. And some of you are scared that there's going to be like a court order or something that puts like a stipulation on you, or you're worried. Some of you are just worried about being like observed in a petri dish, of like having other eyes on you, but you kind of know that you could benefit from that like accountability. So, okay, say that you are an addict and you want to go to rehab, but when you go to rehab, you're signing yourself in there. Like, I don't know, like, can you leave? I think for most programs, there's like a certain amount of time where it's like, you can't leave because you have to detox safely. They've got to get you like, and it all sounds like such a drag. And there's like people who are very strong because they're doctors and they study this stuff, and they're such an authority, and it can just feel like kind of overwhelming of like, you're just like picking on me or something, but they're not. And if they are, then there's other doctors that you can say like, listen, I don't really jive with this person, because they should be invested in, like really, maybe this is like shop around, really do your research, find a place that you like, find a place that you trust, make sure that there are systems in place. So write down a list of what you need to feel safe, I want the ability to change doctors if I don't like somebody, because that's what's going to put my treatment like, in jeopardy or something. Yeah, I think that you're scared of being judged, but honestly, I'm sure they see these things that you're kind of fretting about a lot. And like the biggest thing I think is just to try, to reach out, to get to some like support group or something. You can't do this alone. You're trying to bear some type of secret, and let the world surprise you. This is what I want to say. Let people surprise you. Let the strength of the human spirit, let the goodness of the human spirit surprise you. Let it surprise you. Pray about it. Manifest about it. Help me find, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Lead me to the place where it is that I'm supposed to go. Let me not be punished for like reaching out, and be your own best friend. This is the kind of thing, like, learn to be your own advocate. So start from the inside out, changing the way that you think about yourself. You might not catch it in the moment, but if you're like, okay, if somebody makes fun of me or something, are they like judging me about a certain thing? Just like learn how to talk to yourself like, I'm doing my best. Or if you feel that somebody's like really an asshole and like kind of bullying you or something, then learn how to, in your own mind, like, I'm going to get us out of here. I'm going to figure out how to get us out of here. But I'm going to then learn how to get myself, now I know better what I'm looking for. Like, learn not to give up. There's another thing. Learn not to give up. Learn to rest and not to give up. Learn how to take a pause and not to give up. If you meet one bad doctor, not every doctor in the world is not bad. That's a way that your brain will kind of just undercut you from asking for the support that you need, right? If you meet one bad therapist, not all of them are bad, but just say, okay, that wasn't for me. I know better what I'm looking for. When you're like, and maybe there's like some place that can help you get fitted for somebody that you're looking for, yeah. Spirit is like reaching out here for some type of happy reunion. Okay, so for some of you, this is like you're asking about somebody that's passed on, or somebody that you're talking to your spirit guides because there's something here that you feel like is broken because of bad habits. Those bad habits are rooted in untrustworthiness. Interesting. Those bad habits. So maybe some of you feel untrustworthy. I just heard you have to learn how to trust yourself. Like, I feel like for a lot of you, you're not trustworthy in your relationships or something. And all this really is rooted in unworthiness, but you have to learn how to trust yourself. So when you say, I'm going to take care of something, make sure you take care of it for yourself. Like, this is maybe an opportunity. I'm not trying to like make light of anything that you could be going through, but it could be an opportunity to learn how to build trust within yourself. And maybe the problem will go on just long enough for you to learn that. So just take a leap of faith. And I will tell you, once you learn how to do that, it's not like it gets better overnight, but you feel such a strength in it of like, well, I'm the person who will figure out my problems, or I'm not too afraid to put myself out there, Nurse Jackie, thanks as always, Jess. Your readings resonate with me so much. So thankful for you. I'm so glad. Yeah. So just this, I feel like some of you are having to learn how to get comfortable with like neediness as well. Like maybe you're not comfortable with your own neediness. But we're a social species. We need each other. We do. And that's why it behooves all of us to create a society that is like cooperative and understands the human condition is a precarious one. And just know that every person you meet has their version of this. Every single one, even somebody who has 4 doctorate degrees and, whatever, like we all have our own version of this. And especially the people that are, kind of cutting you off. They're a lot of times uncomfortable with their own vulnerability and their own neediness, and they're trying to meet it in their own way. So, yeah. And you're going to always have a blend of people who it's like, well, I got into the medical profession because I really want to help people. Then you're also going to have people that's like, I just wanted power. I'm uncomfortable with my own neediness. So I learned everything that is needed to know about this so that I don't have to rely, you're going to have like a blend. But pray and manifest that, you can find the right people. And even if you don't, just consider that this is something that you're learning. You're practicing how to, in your own mind, be your own authority and say, no, that's not true about me. What's true about me is that I've fallen down and this is something that I don't understand. And I need to like learn how to pick myself back up again. And this unworthiness keeps coming through. For some of you, this is like a mom who like does everything for her kids because they're worthy to her. Like everybody in the family is worthy, but then like I'm on the back burner. So I actually need help with something and I don't feel worthy enough. Like, yeah, there's just this there's this sadness. So I feel like, yeah, like reaching out for help. Let me get some advice. Like, how can you reach out for help? Sorry if I'm like shuffling right in the microphone. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is you. It's like, there's some kind of help that you want. But it's like, so the 6 of Pentacles, I've said this before, it's one of the most stable dynamics that there is. And a lot of times it's initiated by the needier party. And so like you kind of have to initiate this, whatever this is, to somebody here who has like the resources or who has the support or the answers that you need. But it means like putting yourself out there and being seen as like needy, or being seen as, I'm hearing like less than, but you're not less than, you're going through a hard time. Like learn how to reframe these things in your mind, yeah, like you're really defensive about like this Empress energy. Is there something? Yeah, like you're ashamed. Okay, so for some of you, it's like you're blocking your own healing. There's something here that you have to have a conversation, and not for some, I think that's like reaching out, about like a service, or like, hey, what's required of this or that. But for others of you, I think that you're wanting to learn how to have a conversation, a certain deep conversation, or like something that's hard to admit or something that's hard to say. So if you get yourself into therapy and your therapist can help you understand your own emotions, and especially this unworthiness and like where it comes from, that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. And the rest, like just allow this to unfold naturally. So I just heard put your eye on the prize. So it's important to know what is the thing that you should focus on. And I think like for some of you where there's something here, you're trying to heal something with someone else. You want to learn how to have a conversation. Put your entire focus on learning how to have that conversation. So, okay, I'm going to get myself into therapy. I'm going to talk about my own unworthiness and how that's developed certain bad habits in me. For some, it could be things like drugs, but for others, it's like social compensations, like, so I become a backstabber, I become a betrayer, because I feel so unworthy and I feel so insecure that I feel like I can't just say that I don't want to be around, like when people are talking bad about somebody, and I've really actually ran somebody away that's like a good person, so learning how to have that conversation, it's going to start with unpacking your unworthiness. And some of you, like, I'm also hearing like learning how to be your own advocate is going to help you learn how to be an advocate for others. Because learning how to be your own advocate, you're going to understand, this is your spiritual path forward. It really is. Learning how to be your own advocate, you have to understand your own neediness. Some of you have been trying to like avoid that, So if you understand your own neediness, you're understanding the human condition. You're understanding we all have a soft underbelly. We really do. And think about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have deficiency needs. We all have to have shelter. We all have to have, our safety, security, physiological needs met, our love and belonging needs met. So I don't know where you're at with this. Some of you are ashamed because you've done certain things for shelter, for physiological needs, or maybe you're a little higher up on the hierarchy for love and belonging needs. Well, I know how to meet my basic needs for shelter, but I don't know how to meet my love and belonging needs. So it's just a matter of being patient with yourself. And just knowing that learning how to do these things in a way that feels good to you and feels good to other people, it's a process. All of it's just a learning process. And I think, as I'm thinking about myself, like where sometimes I just have to get very, very clear cut. I don't like being lied to, where somebody just kind of pussyfoots around an issue and they're not being honest with me about who they are and what they've done or anything. Like that's when I can start to be like, listen, we're going to get to the truth of it. But if you start there, I know that I really, really soften. Like just speaking for myself, I'm like, okay, if we're going to have a human moment, like I'm going to meet you here. But if you want to lie and if you want to act like you're tough shit, then fine, you're tough shit. Like, so I think for some of you, you're going to be surprised, like allow yourself to be surprised. If you lead, some of you are not used to leading with softness. You're not comfortable leading with softness, and you're not comfortable saying like, I made a mistake. Or I didn't treat you properly. And you're just learning how to get comfortable with that. And it'll just make you stronger overall, Yeah, what is this Knight of Wands? There's some type of Knight of Wands energy with a 10 of Pentacles. So for some of you, this is like, I don't know, using sex to solidify resource, family, stability. But for others, it's like there's this Knight of Wands pattern of maybe of like your family of origin where you're just kind of in and out, and maybe you've needed help or you've needed assistance, and so you kind of keep going back because you need resource, you need help or assistance. I just feel like maybe a little bit of number 2, like organizing like your thoughts around this, like kind of just, and even sitting down and like making a list of your needs. And I really feel that look at this through the lens of need. Look at your behavior through the lens of need. And where you're disappointed, like there was a cat. how could you meet, what would you need in your life to be able to meet that a little bit better? And is there a way for you to create a plan to do that, one step at a time? Because we just take life in one step at a time. I always had great science teachers. I excelled in science. And I just think that it's because I really genuinely liked my science teachers. They all had like a zest for science. But one of my teachers took a day out of our class. He said he does it every single year. And we talked about goal setting. And it sounds so like, I was like, goal setting? Oh my gosh. And he's like, I know what you're thinking. Like, I know how to set a goal. But I referenced that class in my mind so much, where it's like, we do not tackle things just like, okay, well, because some of you here, it's like something seems so far away. But if you break it down into like milestones, okay, so this is my overall goal, whatever it is. I want to have this conversation with this person to heal it. I want to have I want to regain my health or something, right? So I know I need to break this habit. So break down the milestones, right? Like when I stop drinking soda, like that's a milestone. And then break it down into those smaller steps, and then only focus on the step that's like right in front of you. You don't have to like just everything all at once. And I know, especially living in a Western culture, if you don't have something all at once, because we like to have something where you can say like, I've done this, like I have a certificate in this, I've accomplished this, I am this kind of person. So if you don't have it, then you feel like less than, because we try to build our identity on these external things, and nobody knows this better than me. Like I am an Enneagram 3. I spend a lot of time reading about my Enneagram, like also on vacation, and it's like we're very success oriented people, and so it's very lucky for me, or karmic or something, that I found spirituality, because a lot of times 3s can start chasing these like kind of external things, and we can work on our ego self and think that it's working on our spiritual self. And so I'm just saying this from like just the bottom of my heart, really, like you are learning, and it's okay to not like have some type of like something that you can kind of cling on to and say like, yes, I've made progress, or like I'm this kind of a thing. And just learning to love yourself through the process and learn to enjoy the process like more. That's where inner strength comes from, is just loving yourself when you're down. And you just might find the people that love you when you're down too. And those are your people. Those are your real people. We say that we want these things, but we don't know how to get them, And so just know that, okay, this is a journey in my life that I'm meeting my friends, the people that are going to be with me. These are the people that if I nurture these relationships, like they're going to be with me my entire life through. When things are good, when things are bad, we've already been together when things are bad, 4-wing 3. Yeah. The lovers. Because I think some of you are trying to repair something here. And okay, and for some of you, this is giving you your path forward. It's a real gift. Maybe it's a painful gift. Again, I'm feeling spirit guide energy here, where it's like that destiny energy. I feel like I'm off my path. Maybe you are, because we got the lovers down here, and some of you want to heal a relationship with somebody, but it's not a single step process. Okay, well, I have to be a person who's able to have a conversation with them, a real honest conversation. Okay, well, who's that person? Well, that's a person who understands their own unworthiness, and I know how to deal with it, right? I can literally see how everything kind of comes back to my unworthiness. That's why I've developed bad habits socially. That's why I am dependent on, some kind of something outside of me to prop myself up. So I have to learn healthier habits. Okay, so what's that milestone look like? And don't be afraid. Like my husband and I both have taken like conscious communication classes, like communicating is one of those things that we are like, everybody knows how to communicate. It's okay to like relearn the basics, and to get good at the basics. It's okay, so just break things down into smaller goals. What would that look like? And spend some time, like if whatever suits you, if you're an artist, like paint a picture of like your face, and things being happy, and like meditate on that, go into that. But for me, I'm kind of more left brained. So I would do like a Venn diagram of like me, and then like what I want to accomplish. And I'd have all of that kind of, like I'd create that kind of spider. Okay, I want to be this kind of person. Okay, well then what goes into that? And is there anything that kind of like, okay, well if I go through a such and such program, is that like, okay, I'm learning this and I'm learning that, and kind of know the background thing that you're learning as you're learning something else, Okay, if I'm going to do a degree program or a certification program, but I'm teaching myself accountability, and I'm teaching myself one foot in front of the other. I'm teaching myself routine. Understand that. And that, if you want high self-esteem, do esteemable things, connect with that, or even the things that you're already doing. Because I feel like for some of you, this is like retraining your brain. So like, look at the things that you're already doing. Like, what am I looking at? Or like the things that you're already doing, what are the things that you're practicing? Make a curriculum for yourself, Or like do what I do. Like, okay, so accountability, like what goes into that and how am I learning that in my day-to-day life? You know, little things like that. Dee, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah. So yeah, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be fully formed. And this is a weird time in human history to be saying that, because I know that like things are like the economy is so hard and it's hard for people and, you know, to feel secure like in the life that they have. Or I know that like a lot of these Gen Z kids that are coming out of colleges and stuff, and they're like, well, I don't have any work experience. And, you know, how am I supposed to get it? Like, you know, there's less jobs available and I'm competing with all these people, you know, it's all of that is like very, very tough. So, all right. And, you know, how do we create the world that we want? You know, like that's another thing too, because there's individual karmas and not everything comes down to the individual. Sometimes it does. And the big part of that is admitting like the false self, admitting where we kind of fudge the numbers, admitting where we kind of lie. Like that's on the self, but we also have collective karmas too. And like kind of separating those things out. But yeah. Okay. So that was pile number 3. Yay. Okay. Oh, hey, Jules. There's always easy worry all around. Got to pick up the vibe. Yeah, there's always easy worry all around. I'm going to remember that. There really is. Yeah. Okay. So let me just take another little sip here. Oh, wait. So C said, the energy around being needy and being vulnerable aren't quite the same energy. Vulnerability feels authentic and neediness seems to come from a place of taking. Maybe that's my lesson to learn. Yeah, neediness and vulnerability are not exactly the same thing. And see, this is the kind of stuff that like when I kind of slow down, so I'm like, okay, let's break down, say you're breaking down vulnerability. Okay. So vulnerability isn't exactly neediness. Neediness is, because it's like, okay, well, I need this from somebody else. And that can actually make somebody coercive, or it can kind of make somebody manipulative, and you can kind of justify that behavior, you know, like you can kind of like feel it out. So, okay, maybe I'm not needy, I'm vulnerable in this area. So when I reframe, okay, I'm vulnerable in this area, then that empowers me. Actually, vulnerability empowers me. So I'm vulnerable. How can I become less vulnerable? Well, I can bolster myself in this way. I can bolster myself in that way. And now all of a sudden I'm less needy. I just have a path forward, you know? Thank you. That like clicked something in for me. Yeah. That's why I referred to the dictionary earlier. Yeah. Yeah. We're all humaning here. Yep. It's not easy asking for help when you're used to holding everyone on your back. Yes. And it becomes like a muscle that is like atrophied. And we think that there's something wrong. And especially if you have been strong for so long and you're like, sometimes you won't even ask for help because you're like, well, I see how needy everybody else is. And so I feel bad for like even putting my needs on, you know, other people. So I'm just not going to do it. And I'm going to just be grateful for what I have, like, you know, and then over time it gets harder and harder. It becomes more solidified in your ego identity. So, okay. That was pile number 3. Let us move into some general messages. Okay, so Spirit, not necessarily having anything to do with the reading, what do you want to talk about? What messages do you have for us? Oh, I just felt a tear kind of come out my eye. Okay, the 3 of Swords. And the Hangman. So looking at a 3 of Swords situation differently. Okay, the Magician and the King of Cups. I just heard you're ready to be the King of Cups, or you're ready to meet the King of Cups. So, okay. So I feel like for some of you, if somebody's like really broken your heart, I do feel like that was some type of karmic situation. Like this has themes of like betrayal, third-party situations, backstabbing, you feeling like you didn't really have the truth about a person and what they were doing like behind the scenes. I feel like Spirit's trying to help you see that in a different way of like, okay, I've been through that and I'm healing up and I'm ready to learn with the Magician. I've learned different skills having gone through that experience. It has actually taught me different skills. A lot of these skills are probably internal, like kind of self-healing skills. And because of that, you are ready to meet a King of Cups, like you're ready to meet like your spiritual inheritance for like, so this to me looks like karma, because Three of Swords is, to me, it's Saturn in Libra, Saturn being like that planet of karma. And then look, the King of Cups. This is a loving partner, like a spiritual partner. Somebody is like satisfied from within, you know, somebody who is not a betrayer, somebody who has maybe healed their own heart. So you're ready to do that, or you're ready to be that, or you're ready to heal your heart, or it's giving me an opportunity to learn how to be the King of Cups, you know, regardless of your gender. This is a situation that's allowed me like studenthood. I'm kind of getting with or like an apprenticeship in a way, to look at some kind of situation. It's actually something that has like put you in touch with your power. It's actually maybe allowed you to not feel so dependent, because like somebody outside of you and maybe multiple people broke your heart. They broke your trust. There's like betrayal here. It hurts so bad, but you saw this situation, or you are like your guides are saying, look at this as an opportunity for you to have learned a skill, multiple skills with a magician, and that you're ready to actually like learn how to be the King of Cups, to connect inwards, to connect with your emotions, to learn how to heal your emotions, and possibly even like to connect with a genuine soulmate here, and not just like whatever karmic bullshit is like kind of going on here. You're free from, you've earned your freedom, or you're working towards your freedom here. Oh my gosh, Eight of Cups. Yeah, moving away. This is like all about like moving away, moving towards happiness, health, freedom. Even though there's love, like there's so much love. So what else do you want to say, Spirit? Yeah, this was an illusion. Something was like an illusion in your past. And you are ready for like your own strength and your own new beginning. Yeah. I mean, you're manifesting some type of genuine teamwork, but it might not be what you thought that it was going to be, or with who you thought that it was going to be with, because it might break some type of mold here. And because out of sadness comes a message, is what I'm getting. A message of like independence. I feel like some of you, like you're going to work through this, and then like you're going to be on your own. You're going to be totally fine. And then you're not going to be expecting it. It's going to be almost like a tower moment when somebody kind of offers you something, and it's a new kind of love. Whatever it is, it's a new kind of love. It's not needy. It's not dependent. It's not like this. It's not karmic. It's something else. It's going to happen when you least expect it. It's going to really kind of catch you off guard. For some of you, I hate this message when it comes through. I really genuinely do. But for some of you, it is something from your past. Is going to like, they're right behind you, you know, and they're going to like have changed or transformed, oh my gosh, into like the Hierophant. So for some of you, it's like you're moving on, and that is your path. This is kind of what I don't like about the twin flame rhetoric too. It's so matchy. It's like, well, you can only come into twin flame union if you're 2.5 feet apart from your twin flame at all times. And it's like, there's no holism. There's no like embracing paradox that sometimes you can be closer to somebody by being far away, or sometimes you have to accept like the power of acceptance, which is such a spiritual kind of term. Like just accept that like they're not into it, you know, or like they're not healed. Like they're not the person that so whatever relationship you want is just an illusion. It's not real, because that's not what's like in front of you. And it might be painful to kind of realize that, because you saw so much potential, or you can feel how much love that there is. But sometimes you have to choose yourself. And if I've always thought this, but if somebody's really your twin flame and you feel that that's the other half of your soul, then you embracing yourself is embracing them. You doing what's best for yourself is doing what's best for them. So I think for some of you, there's some type of irony, some type of paradox where you're becoming this person that is kind of ironclad, actually. And it might shock you that is the very thing. Like somebody here is going to reach out. I just feel like somebody's going to reach out, but be very careful, because also some of these people, this is why I don't like that message of like somebody's coming back from your past, because how are you supposed to know if they're healed or not? And, you know, because there is like this other thing of like, well, I'm wrapped up in my head and I'm like, yeah, like it could go either way. But for others of you, this is somebody new. And if you need that, then you need that. If you need somebody new and you're like, I can't, like, yeah, there was a lot of love here, but I did a lot to get myself out of that and I can't, then that's what it is, you know? Just be honest with yourself about what it is that you need. I'm just asking about this King of Cups. Like, who is this person? This is somebody who's been alone for a while, like with the Hermit energy. They're totally fine on their own. And they might actually feel like, insecure in reaching out to you. Or they've definitely gone through some type of insecurity themselves, and they've had to kind of grow something internally. And maybe this is like their money kind of privately. And then they're going to become the King of Pentacles. And then actually like come forward. But I also feel this energy from the past too, kind of sneaking around while you're healing. And you're dreaming about happiness. So I feel like for some of you, it's like you're leaving something here behind. That I know, I hate that, because it's like, and life is like this. It's not always so clear cut. But like, just allow yourself to heal, and to kind of get away, and like reframing this in terms of like what skills that you are learning, and you're potentially learning temperance and balance, because anything that you can't be tempered towards, and you're like, oh my gosh, the second that this person reaches out, like I would take them back despite like them having treated you horrendously, like you're not tempered. That's not a divine union. That is codependency. And I think some of you are like learning that. Somebody who really wants your attention, and they're manipulative. That's not love. I think for some of you, okay, I think that links to, remember Spirit said that you're learning, reframe this heartbreak, because I think that you mistook like maybe like sexual chemistry, or like somebody coming in and out, like, and their manipulation and their manipulative tricks for love. And it just what it did was effectively is that created a fantasy. This person was effective at creating a fantasy of who they are and pushing that forward as though it's the truth, but they were never consistent because it's not the truth, so it couldn't be consistent. So you had to learn that, I think, the hard way. And also, I think this person like has a way of disrupting you when you're like happy. It's like you'll finally move on, you're enjoying yourself, and then all of a sudden this person kind of comes back, and you're healing from that. And that that's not what it looks like now. That's a karmic. You can just be like, that's a karmic. You put on a good show, but it's just a show. At the end of the day, if I want to watch a show, I'll buy a ticket somewhere. It's not to the asshole treat me badly express, because that always gets you up in your head. So you're learning to see that energy for what it is, because I think you've been told, or you told yourself that was love, and it's not love. That inconsistency, that back and forth, that manipulation, that Knight of Wands, kind of energy, that was like, you were idealizing that. You were thinking, oh, because it's potential, oh, if we imagine having this, because it feels like when it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's good. And you're like, well, imagine like having this like stable. Yeah, well, the stable thing is the thing this person is not good at. They don't want you to see it. They want you to think that it's their choice. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying. I think it was in pile number 2, like the thing about being a square, where it's like, this person doesn't have the ability to be a square. And I think that, like for themselves even, and like to be consistent, they lack that. So they're the one telling you like that it's not cool to want that. It's not cool to want stability in your life, to want to, and they've mastered the art of just like sending this message that's just like sparkly and just kind of out of the blue. And that feels, but you're just healing. Like you're just healing from it. You're not falling for the sparkly, the sparkly text message that comes through and you're like, oh my gosh, it's happening, this is the future that I want. And it's just never is. I think some of you've like been around like with something or with a cycle, and it could not be just with one person. It could be like you're looking for the same traits. And so you're finding, because that's what you think love is, but then you've been betrayed by those traits that you see in somebody, like the inconsistency that you've been like idealizing, but it's a fantasy. So you're learning about actual love and like not the fantasy, and like learning how to identify people that are just good at putting forward a fantasy. Or like for some of you, you're learning how not to be that, that, again, like I'm a Enneagram 3, and that's our patch. So in the Enneagram, you have like base fears and then base desires, and your base desire is kind of born of your base fear because it seems like it's the answer to your base fear. And so, in Enneagram 3s, like we're very good at kind of seeing what somebody wants, because the messaging that we got as children was that you're not loved for who you are. You're not, you have to be this certain way, and that's how you receive love. I'm not interested in finding out who you are. You need to fit my mold. You need to fit into my life. And so we become very good at just reading what somebody wants from us, like right off the bat. And I'm happy. I really did kind of face this earlier on than I would have, thanks to spirituality and being around a bunch of hippies that like aren't so motivated by that kind of thing, where it kind of got me thinking, like, it can be very scary to say, like, in your mind, like, I know what you want to see from me, but it's also not the way that I feel. So you have to have the courage to be seen as you are, you know? And so for some of you, I think that's what this is. It's like, I'm never going to find love if I'm consistently trying to be what everybody wants me to be. And that's different than putting your best foot forward, because we all kind of do that too, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't want to show up like, you know, scratching your butt in your pajamas, like, you know, to a job interview or something. You want to put your best foot forward, but you also have to allow yourself, even though you can kind of sense like, well, this might not be what you want to hear, but yeah, you know, I don't like to, you know, I like to sleep in on the weekends, or I don't know, whatever it is. It's like, yeah. And just kind of like letting it go and not trying to manipulate, because manipulate's a funny word. I mean, you know, we try to control because we feel insecure about what could happen if we're not controlling everything and we're not coming across in a certain way or whatever. And that's what like doing this has honestly really taught me, because I've really let it go. And, you know, I think that ultimately is better anyways, because I think that we all just need the message that it's okay to be a person. It's okay, you know? Yeah. And because that is what puts you in like a needy position is what I'm getting. Like if there's something here. Okay, so I've said in other readings that there's something here that kind of you didn't understand that it was selfishness. There's something here that kind of masquerades as selfishness. Well, what I'm getting is like, there's something here that kind of, it masks neediness. So this, like, I have to put on a show, or going after somebody that seems like it's a fantasy, going after somebody who's just good at creating the fantasy. If you're creating a fantasy, there's a neediness. You create the fantasy in order to get your need met, you know, and you stick to that fantasy of I'm this perfect person. Like maybe for some of you feel like you just know how to become the perfect person that somebody is like wanting from you. But where are you in that? Where is your authenticity in that? And that's the thing that's going to not make your life feel hollow. That's the thing that's going to make you feel loved for who you are. And it takes courage and it takes bravery to step out of that and say, well, I'm not necessarily always the prize here. Okay. Like, here are my shortcomings, and this is what I really think, even though I know it's not in vogue or whatever, you know? But for some of you, I think when you're falling for a fantasy, somebody who like puts themselves forward as a fantasy, I think you're learning how to see like, oh, there's a neediness here that you're masking as strength, as, oh, I can fulfill like everything. Actually, what you are is needy. And you're also not the way that you have like cope about how you deal with that neediness is like building this fantasy of telling me everything that I want to hear, instead of just showing me who you actually are, because that's not a person who is dealing with something here at the root cause. And I think you're learning how to see that. That's what this entire situation has been about, I just heard. So that's going back to the beginning with the Three of Swords and the Hanged Man, Spirit saying, look at this situation entirely differently. You are learning the pattern of that leads to betrayal and heartbreak for you. And it has something to do with fantasy, and it has something to do with this amalgamation of traits of that magician energy, somebody who's very dexterous, somebody who's very Mercury. You know, Mercury is good at communication, and maybe it is like kind of very skillful, but it's also that Knight of Wands, which can be very lusty, but it can also, it's inconsistent, and, you know, but it's like you're looking for those traits, and maybe only those traits, I don't know, but it's like there's a way that you kind of become complicit in breaking your own heart, because you're misreading these traits, and you're just kind of seeing somebody who's good at creating a fantasy and saying, oh, I think this is everything on my checklist that I'm supposed to be going for. And they're good at being the checklist, figuring out your checklist, becoming the checklist. The Lightheart Alchemist, thank you so much for the super chat. The reality will never live up to the fantasy. Don't daydream for too long. Yeah, and realizing that it's not a place of comfort. It's actually a very dangerous situation. You are like the sea captain that's going through the land of the sirens, and you have to protect yourself from people like that. You have to protect yourself in that kind of situation, because you are at risk. You are in danger, because you're not seeing the landscape clearly. And that's what they're not wanting you to see them clearly, because they want what they want from the situation. And they're doing that instead of genuinely tending to their authentic self. And this is something that I think you've learned, and that you've learned the hard way. And you've disenchanted is the word that's coming through. I feel like you're learning how to be disenchanted. And that's like really, really hard at first. You know, like they say when you, if you're a person who drinks caffeine is like a mood elevator. So it can be dangerous to just like quit caffeine cold turkey, like entirely. It's like that with a fantasy. Like when you start to get down to like normal life, it can feel like a drudge. It can feel like, oh, okay, it's just like life. But that is your place of power. And that is like actually where you can build up something that feels content, like genuine contentment. But what is the fantasy doing for you? You know, like that fantasy of that person, it's that high. It's like, it makes you feel like life is electric, you know? And yeah, but instead of just kind of saying, well, life is what it is, that's acceptance, right? You know, that's also Buddhism. Like life's kind of suffering. We're here to learn from suffering. And part of suffering can look like a drudge, you know, can look like boredom, but find somebody who can do that well and who does it with you. And you just might build something where you can have genuine happiness and find out what that is, you know, find out what genuine contentment is, find out what authenticity is, that where somebody can be authentic to you and you're not going to judge them against a fantasy. And they'll do the same for you. And then you maybe have a shot at something, you know, something real. And that's, I think, what in a very painstaking way you've potentially learned. And this maybe feels like with multiple people in multiple different arenas of life. Yeah, I feel like this is just saying no to the neediness, like just kind of, yeah, because I think there's like a fantasy here that makes you feel, it's like an addiction. It builds that addiction. It makes you feel like you want more and more and more, but it's like a trickle, or it's breadcrumbing. It's like drip, 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 you know? And it's like learning to just turn away from that faucet that's like barely dripping and actually just trying to, you know, find a river, you know, or like actual shelter. It's like you're held captive by this fantasy that someone has like created for you to like believe, yeah, and like you are actually the Queen of Cups, like you actually have real emotions. That's what's actually valuable. So you pour your real emotions in. And you know, this is kind of reminding me of like, you know, those the YouTubers that, or like the TikTokers, the people who like try to tell you how to like do the stock market or something, and really their way of making money is convincing other people that they have like this special way of like doing the stock market, but really they don't like actually make their money. You know what I'm saying? Like the grifters that are kind of saying that. It's like this person gets their appeal from not from the energy that you're pouring in, that like that actual Queen of Cups energy. That's what makes things grow around this person. And they're actually the one desperate for you. And once you realize that, then you can kind of take your power back from that situation and be victorious. Oh my gosh, because I keep flipping this over. This was the one on the top of the deck, and I just kept flipping it over. And maybe that's what you were doing. And then this last time, it just went down on the floor, and then I picked up the next one. It was the victory card, the Six of Wands. Yeah, and then now look at you. Just kind of balanced in your energy or in your globe. Freaking Glinda, the good witch. Yeah, and they're trying to like get into your globe. And you're like, no, I'm taking responsibility for like the unsteadiness that's been in my life because I've like bought into this fantasy for too long. And I'm actually learning, or I'm curious about like what actual love is, what happiness and contentment look like, as opposed to that like addictive high that I get from chasing like some type of fantasy. And I think some of you are like relearning what traits to look for. Maybe you don't have a clue. And maybe that goes into pile number 2 a little bit, where it's like, it's okay to just kind of be alone for a while and just don't do the routine. Don't do the routine that you've been doing. So, okay. I feel like that's all. Okay. So I said, if there was another message that wanted to come through, Spirit, what would it be? I do feel somebody's guides are trying to get your attention. Okay. Trying to get your attention. This is kind of a different message than what was coming through. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but famous last words. Somebody here is like kind of closed off, and they are like healing, and you're supposed to be learning how to be in temperance mode, because I feel like somebody here wants to reach out to somebody. And I was kind of getting that in like pile number 3, where I was like, if you're reaching out to somebody that you hurt, that you feel like is an empress, because this person was showing up as the World card. They've really completed a karmic cycle here. They are in the process of healing. You're not to disturb that person. You're supposed to be focusing on yourself, like your own temperance energy. And that might mean reaching out to somebody, but this is like somebody where there's like multiple people that do their job, you know? So you don't need this, don't rush up, don't bum rush to this person. Now's not the right time to have a conversation. You're being blocked for a reason. But the person that you would need to reach out to is somebody like a therapist, you know, where if a therapist is too busy, they can say, I'm too busy. Here's 10 more recommendations. So you can still find, there's still like a path there, you know? Because if you do, and it's not the right time to reach out, this is somebody that you've hurt, you haven't been processing or like learning or actually like getting to the root of it, and you think it's like preemptively wanting to, that's that Knight of Wands energy, and you've got to learn how to bust out of that if you're ever going to be allowed back into this person's energy, because this person is protected right now, whoever that person is. And for some of you, that's you. There's just somebody maybe trying to burst into your life. That person's protected right now. They're in a stasis, like they're in some type of healing. There's some type of paradox energy here too. And you're going to misunderstand it because you haven't done like the work that you need to do. So if you reach out to that person, not only, I feel like maybe they won't respond, or like they won't, or you're going to get some kind of response that like confuses you. And it's because it's not right. Like it's not going to make sense because there's a different road that you're supposed to be on. And it's going to confuse you, and that's going to add more steps like in your process here. So that's just for somebody. You're confused, but I feel like probably go to like one of the other piles. And that might assist you in your confusion, especially pile number 3, maybe. Because I feel like if you need help, think about who is like an expert in that field. You know, what kind of help do you need? Is it a therapist? Somebody who can help you unpack your emotions and unpack like certain habits and what might be healthier? Is it a career counselor? Is it like, who is it that you could reach out to for help? But there's more than one option. Or there might be somebody that you could reach out to that you're in regular contact with, that you have a good relationship with, nothing's gone wrong. Like then reach out to that person and accept a no graciously if they give you that, you know? Emerald, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, Jess. Always appreciated. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Paige says, I'm reading Men Who Hate Women and the Women Who Love Them. I want to read that so bad. And it's completely blown the roof off of my feelings of worthiness. Men and women should read this book. It is completely changing my life. Maybe we should read that together, you guys. Thank you, Paige. I've wanted to read that one too. Yeah. Oh, MJ Song. Who is it? The Bayou. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for pushing harder on closed doors. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's what I have. I got a pumpkin roll in the fridge. I'm going to go have that. So thanks for hanging out with me on Friday. I'm sorry I wasn't there. We also have Patreon video that's coming out tomorrow, and it's the non-romance reading. It's What's Their Problem With You? So that one's coming out tomorrow. Oh, and I forgot to say this at the beginning. Nor said she had a good idea, and I want to do it. So she was talking about in the past, we did like the Hurt Locker readings. Remember that? So your Hurt Locker, I got that term from Shallon Lester. She's a YouTuber, and she, as far as I know, she coined that term Hurt Locker. That's a person that kind of embodies all of your hurts. You store all your hurts in that person. And it can be kind of a scorpionic connection, you know, where it's very passionate and you're very drawn in, or you're very repulsed by that person, right? So she said, well, why can't we do like a Hurt Locker, but like a heart opener? Like, who's that heart opener? So I want to kind of do both, because I haven't done a Hurt Locker reading in a while either. So I want to kind of, and I think we're going to do this in the next live stream. So we'll do like a Hurt Locker reading, like who is your Hurt Locker? What is that? We can kind of process through that, because maybe it's changed for some of you. But then we can do like the heart opener one. But I think we came up with a different word like than the heart opener. We had a lot of time in the car. It was, I can't think of it now, but so we'll do like a 1-2 punch of those in live streams. And I wanted to kind of prep you guys for that it's like the 1-2 punch with that. And yeah, I think that's what I have. And also we sell candles, and I won't bother you too much about that. We sell ritual candles, which all of our candles are made with like the highest quality ingredients that we can find, like truly safe ingredients. But the ritual candles, we have like spell recipes that we kind of layer, and as we're pouring the wax and it's all like melty, we say those spells and kind of infuse it in the wax. We have like 4 main ones that we do, and we can also do custom if you want custom spells. And every single one of our candles is topped off with dragon's blood resin, which has been used for a while to enhance the spells.
All magic candles are that that way, not the scented candles.
All the magic candles are that way, not the scented candles. So if you're interested in that, if you're doing any energy work, you yourself are energy. You don't need a candle, but every witch kind of has their tools. And if you are drawn to candles or like the flame, of the candle or whatever, and you're looking for something that's really high quality, basically like why we make those is because I use those and I wanted something that I couldn't really find like anywhere on the market. I've kind of said that story before. And so I felt it was a niche, and so we did that. And we also have the scented candles and like certain fall scents and stuff. And we still have our pumpkins. These are so cute. You can see that I've been using mine. And this, I really like this scent, the pumpkin caramel crunch or the pumpkin caramel cookie. And to me, it's like the fall. It's just, if you like Mama's House, which Mama's House is like one of our number one bestsellers. Fresh Start and Mama's House are like our two most popular scents.
And they'll sell out. They're sold out.
Yeah, and then when these sell out in the pumpkin jars, then they're sold out. But we still might do some pumpkin caramel cookie in like the apothecary jars if people still want that, because it's such a good scent. It really is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I won't bother you too much about that. So candles are amazing. Thank you. I love the pumpkin cookie candle. The jar is adorable. Yeah, because I think what I'm going to do with mine is I've seen these with like candy corns in them. I don't really like candy corn that much to eat, but I think it's really cute. So I think I might just fill this up with some candy corns like whenever I'm done with it. So okay, that's what I have for you guys. Thank you for spending Friday with me. Patreon video tomorrow for those of you that are over there, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye guys.